Clinton brushed off Trump's latest verbal barrage, describing him as a bully, and a dangerous one at that, she said, because his proposal to ban all Muslims from America has, and she said would continue, to inspire ISIS recruitment.
His bigotry, his bluster, his bullying have become his campaign.
Hillary Clinton, in an interview with the Des Moines Register, said she wasn't surprised by GOP frontrunner Donald Trump's questionable use of this vulgar Yiddish term.
She was favored to win, and she got
On the trail, Clinton instead opted to attack Trump's proposal to ban Muslims from entering the U.S.
Go ahead.
And his unfiltered campaign style.
It is not the kind of language somebody running to be president of the United States should be using.
Even one of Trump's GOP rivals, Jeb Bush, said the frontrunner's attack strengthened Clinton's hand.
She's great at being the victim. You know, this will enhance her victimology status. It's not a sign of strength to insult people with profanity.
Trump's closest rival in Iowa, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, is also showing momentum nationally, drawing within 4 points of Trump in the latest Quinnipiac poll.
This is turning more and more into a two-man race between Donald Trump and me. We're seeing the Washington establishment in utter disarray because the American people are fed up with Washington. They're fed up with being lied to.
With Cruz's climb in the polls has come increased scrutiny. This Washington Post editorial cartoon depicting his children as holiday props drew Cruz's wrath, inspired by this lighthearted ad.
And if you act now,
a parody that features Cruz and his children reading conservative Christmas stories.
I'll use my own server, and no one will be the wiser.
The candidate quickly denounced the cartoon, demanding on Twitter that the Washington Post leave his children alone. "Stick with attacking me," he tweeted, adding his daughters are out of your league. The Washington Post defended the cartoon at first, then later said it did not live up to its standards and retracted it. Senator Marco Rubio sent out a tweet calling the cartoon disgusting. And by late last night, the Cruz campaign was sending out fundraising emails asking for emergency contributions. The subject line read, "They attacked my children." Megan Ann Marie.
So, Major, let's turn back to Trump and Clinton for a moment. We see Hillary taking the high road instead of engaging in direct insults. But when it comes to a candidate like Donald Trump, does that strategy work?
Well, look, with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, you cannot apply any of the rules that Trump has successfully applied to all of his Republican challengers. Why? Because they're running in different contests, talking to completely different audiences, and possibly preparing the stage if they are the two nominees of their respective parties. So this engagement is fundamentally different than what Trump does with Republicans, or for that matter, what Hillary Clinton does with Bernie Sanders or Martin O'Malley. It's a cross-party conversation with entrenched interest groups behind both candidates. In Trump's case, his supporters; in Hillary Clinton's case, her supporters, and almost all of the Democratic Party establishment. So part of what we see going on here is the two of them eyeballing each other and the campaign sort of dealing with each other as potential general election competitors. And for both campaigns, that serves their interest because they would like their supporters to already imagine an America where they're the nominees of the two major parties. They're not yet. No one's even casted a vote yet. No one's even cast a vote, not casted, but cast a vote. And until that happens, this is all theoretical. But at a strategic level, it's a good idea for Trump and Clinton to give their supporters and the country that's paying attention this close to Christmas that they are, if not likely, possibly their party's nominees.
Yeah, Major, while you're talking, we're throwing up the latest Quinnipiac poll, a recent Quinnipiac poll that puts Hillary Clinton beating Donald Trump in a national election. So perhaps taking the high road is a good choice for her when you're thinking about the long road ahead, right?
Yes, interestingly, that poll also showed Bernie Sanders beating Donald Trump, and by a much wider margin than Hillary Clinton, which I found interesting, and I'm sure the Sanders campaign found interesting, and Sanders supporters would like more attention to be brought to, because both would beat Donald Trump, that is to say Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, both margins outside the margin of error in polling. But Sanders much larger, I think by more than 10 points, a sizable margin over Hillary Clinton's projected defeat of Donald Trump. So that means both of the two Democrats running for the nomination are well positioned currently against Donald Trump. But again, all of this is secondary to the real conversation, which is, will Hillary Clinton win the Iowa caucuses? Will she win the New Hampshire primary, and so doing vanquish Bernie Sanders? Or will those two races be really competitive and give that race new spark? What will happen to Donald Trump in Iowa? Does he have an actual ground game? Or does Ted Cruz's ground game, which he has meticulously put together over the last 12 months, become the decisive factor there? And if Trump loses in Iowa, does he suddenly become deprived of all of this momentum in the polls and people take a second look and maybe jump off that bandwagon? And a loss in New Hampshire, what would that do to the Trump campaign? All of these things are great variables, meaning Iowa and New Hampshire, always crucial in this nominating process. I don't think have ever been more important, certainly in the Republican conversation, than they will be in 2016, and it'll be very important for the Democrats as well.
Fox Business, Major, has just announced they will reduce the number of candidates on the primetime debate stage next month to about 5 or 6. Tell us more about this and who could potentially be in danger.
Well, if you're John Kasich, you have to worry about this. If you're Rand Paul, you have to worry about this. It looks like Chris Christie would probably be on the other side of the new criteria. Basically, the top 6 in national polls and the top 5 in polls in Iowa and New Hampshire. This debate will be held January 14th in North Charleston, South Carolina. So essentially, Fox Business Network is suggesting that this field is going to get narrowed eventually, and they're going to begin to narrow it even before the voters in the Iowa caucuses on February 1st begin that process. So there will be a much larger undercard debate that will include some who have been persistently on the primetime debate stage, and it will give more focus to those who actually are running well nationally and competitively, that top 6. That's still a somewhat unwieldy number, but certainly easier to deal with than 9. And it will give sharper focus to those who do make the cut, so you can bet everyone who is not a clear top-tier Republican, Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and possibly Chris Christie, are going to be fighting to get on that stage. And if you're not there, you are in big, big trouble.
Major Garrett in Washington, thanks a lot, Major.
You got it.